She leaves it all behind her. 7 decades of state visits, audiences with prime ministers, and the palace balcony, where she would wave to these crowds, now somber, watching in silence. On the Queen's coffin was her crown. Behind it, a wreath of pine from the gardens at Balmoral and lavender from the grounds of Windsor. Following the Queen, the new King, and all the senior members of the royal household. They entered the most famous street of royal ceremonies. Never has the Mall been so full and so quiet. A family's grief and the nation's there for the world to see. Halfway along the avenue, 2 statues gazed on. The Queen's father, King George VI, and her mother. Not since her death 20 years ago has the country seen a procession to a laying in state. So much has changed. It's 25 years since Prince William and his brother made this same walk behind the coffin of their mother, aged 15 and 12, something Harry would later say was inappropriate for someone so young. As the procession passed on to Horse Guards Parade, there was applause. During the 40-minute journey to the Palace of Westminster, Big Ben tolled at minute intervals. The procession made its way past the cenotaph, where some of the family saluted the memorial to fallen soldiers. An hour before the event, the City of London released a statement warning that viewing areas were full. Some who travelled long distances were turned away, and many could only get a limited view. The crowds back to the barriers are metres deep, and everybody here has their own story with the Queen, which is collectively coming to an end. And that is the pull for so many people, just to witness this momentous final chapter, to be able to say they were here, they saw it.
It's when the casket went past with the crown on top, and you sort of heard everyone just gasped a bit. It was like it's a funny feeling, I suppose. Yeah.
They did gasp.
Yeah.
That's what it was like. Everybody did it at the same time.
For me, it was emotional, and I was a bit somber.
Yeah.
Even now, I'm getting a bit emotional. So, yeah, it was part of the history. I'm part of the history, so it's nice to be there.
Barrow party, slow, march.
The Queen's Company 1st Battalion Grenadier Guards carried the Queen from the gun carriage to Westminster Hall, their Commander-in-Chief, also a military wife, mother and grandmother, and the first female royal to join the armed services. Here, Princess Catherine and the Duchess of Sussex joined their husbands. The Archbishop of Canterbury read the opening prayer.
O God, the Maker and Redeemer of all mankind, grant us, with thy servant Queen Elizabeth.
King Charles faced the coffin in this last moment with his mother until the funeral on Monday. A double tap from the officer of the watch signalled the start of the first vigil, kept by 4 officers from the household cavalry. While outside, the queue began to stretch down the Thames, across it and back on itself. The public in waiting. And they will wait, and wait, for hours on end, for this last chance to spend just a moment with their Queen and say goodbye, each in their own way. Jason Farrell, Sky News.